UFC 300, a momentous night for the UFC, one of the most stacked and hyped cards in the history of the promotion. You're watching SJ Combat, let's have a talk about it. We kick things off with two former champions as Deiveson Figueiredo took on Cody Garbrant. Now for context, at the time Mr Figueiredo was seen as one of the best midgets around, and Cody Garbrant had just beat Brian Kelleher. I mean, no disrespect to Brian, but that's like having a meal deal for lunch and then a filet mignon for tea. And it went about as well for Cody as you would probably expect. He got fucked. Next up was a couple of legends in the twilight of their career, with Bobby Green, no I'm not calling him King, piss off, against Jim Miller, which I think this was fight number 748 of his UFC career. An entertaining scrap that was quite clearly won by everybody's favourite self-proclaimed monarch. Great stuff. Next up was a couple of Brazilian strawweights as Jessica Andrade used her power to overcome Marina Rodrigues. A very good win, but don't do a deep Google search on Andrade because, yeah. Let's move on, shall we? Let's move on to your early prelim headliner of Renato Moicano against Jalen Turner. A fantastic fight which saw Moicano in trouble early but then rallying to a second round finish. Interestingly, Jalen Turner would retire the following year. Well, he retired for about 8 months. Basically, he went home, ordered a Chinese, looked on the television, saw it was only loose women or catchphrase available during the day and decided, actually, I should probably earn a bit more dough before I turn into some kind of middle-aged housewife. How very Tyson Fury of it. The main prelims would kick off with Diego Lopes against Sadiq Yusuff. God, do you remember him? He was supposed to be the governor, wasn't he? Yeah, that went a bit, south. Anyway, wonderful first round knockout for Diego Lopes. I'm sure he'll be champion one day. He might have to wait though. Next up, Kayla Harrison was welcomed into the UFC with a second round submission victory over Holm, and yeah, she's champion now. I say bring on Amanda Nunes. For her, not for me. No, I'm a keyboard warrior. I don't want any, no. Goodbye, let's move on. Next up, former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling. He moved up a weight class and fought the exciting Calvin Kattar in a fight that was just wonderful. If you were asleep, it was prime Sterling backpack mode, but a win's a win, you know? Fucking boring, wasn't it though? Let's be honest, Jesus. In the prelim headliner, Yuri perhaps could decided he'd take a break from shouting at nobody and punching nature to fight Alexander Rakic, and he did win. In customary finishing style, but he's he's the only bloke I could ever think of who would have a geezer in front of him with no knee and would still find a way to walk into a perfect left hook and lose a title fight again. But what a bloke he is. Let's move on to the brilliant opener of the main card. So a little recap for you beautiful people. Up to this point in the card we had 8 either former or future champions or title challengers across the prelims, which is very, very stacked, and we loved it. However, and the UFC decided, let's start the main card with this bloke. Oversized Ron Weasley, Mr. Bo Nickal against Cody Brundage, who is quite shit, really. I mean, he beat me up, but my dog beats me up, you know what I mean? Not to worry though, people, as we know, Mr. Bo Nickal is now the current UFC middleweight champion. He did win at UFC 300 though, so well done Bo, fair play. Oh, finally, a fight that matters at the top of a division. Here we go. Arman Tsyrukyan versus Charles Oliveira. Now, the odds were stacked in favour of Tsyrukyan, but we all believed in Olives. We all believed he had it in him to cause another upset, and we were quite wrong, actually. It was tight-ish, but yeah. Well done, Tsyrukyan. He would then go on to fight for the UFC lightweight title. No, he didn't. His back hurt, so he still hasn't fought for it now. And we've got a different interim champion who was beaten by Oliveira. Quite soundly. MMA's weird. And the feature bout was Max Holloway against Justin Gaethje. I can't really think of anything to say for this one. It was quite boring, so we're just going to move on incredibly swiftly. Oh yes, co-main event time, the strawweight title match of Zhang Weili versus Yang Xiaonan. Now, the perfect way to reintroduce MMA to China after the pandemic, but they decided to host it in Las Vegas instead. Yeah, okay. Not to worry though, Chinese fans, you wouldn't have to wait too long until the UFC returned to your turf and they treated you to the high-stakes barn burner of Johnny Walker versus Yang Min Yang, which, yeah, that's an Apex main event. You know? You wait 5 years and you get that. And your bloke lost anyway, you know? Brilliant. The main event of UFC 300. Was it Conor McGregor? No. Was it John Jones? No. Was it Namajunas Andrade 3? No. It was Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill for the light heavyweight title, which on paper, good fight. Didn't quite live up to the hype of the event. At least going into it. However, what we saw shook the MMA world. Alex Pereira said, "No, I'm alright, Herb, mate. You can kind of take a day off." Bosh, have that, Jamal Hill. Oh, look, there he is. I'm going to make sure everyone can see by pointing at him while he's basically unconscious. Brilliant. Great stuff. And that's a wrap, folks. UFC 300, a good card. Maybe slightly underwhelming in terms of hype going into it for how big the event was supposed to be, but roll on UFC 400, where Jim Miller is going to fight some AI robot. I'll see you later.